Please welcome to the stage, Carpenter.
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming. Hope you all had a great lunch. I'm Carpenter, and I lead our product marketing for all of Google Cloud products. That includes Google GCP, G Suite, and our Chrome and devices. The highlight of my job is meeting and working with all of our amazing customers and hearing their stories. And I hope over the last few days you've heard some of those customer stories. We're going to hear a few more. And what I hope you've taken away is that digital transformation is much more than just IT, cheaper and faster in the cloud. At Google Cloud, we want you to demand and expect more from us. We want you to develop new ways of doing business, be able to deliver new customer experiences, and open up new business models for you. We work with enterprises across many different industries, and you're going to hear from them this afternoon. Industries like manufacturing, government, healthcare, consumer. And what we do is work with these companies to develop personalized solutions for their customers. And we do this with lots of freedom, with freedom from lock-in and the ability to get closer to their customers. As we've talked about, our mission is delivering IT that works better for you and for your customers. Of course, the best way to show this is through hearing from the customers, not from me. Together, we like to solve tough problems. We want to open up these new horizons, and we want to deliver new efficiencies to their customers. And as I mentioned, I absolutely love this part of my job. So a quick preview of what you're going to see this afternoon. First, we have Mark from the Department of Transport, who provides all the central repository for much of England's core information that guides the policies for both the cabinet ministers and many different transport agencies. Over the past few years, the company has migrated to Google Cloud, and now they see that analysis that used to take 24 hours only takes 4 hours. Then we have Jason from Credit-Suisse, who's going to share with you how they're unleashing real-time data to manage their data and risk assessment platform. They've revolutionized how their developers work through adopting Google Cloud, so they can now concentrate on doing their most important thing, which is serving their customers. Carsten from eDreams is going to share how they power 260 different travel sites, and they juggle in real time pricing, locations, accommodations, and all of the various choices. And by using Google Cloud, they've gone from 40 feature releases a month to over 400. This will be followed by Niccolo from Faceit. If you don't know Faceit, you soon will. They're the world's largest community for competitive online gaming. My children know all about this. They host about 12 million esports a month, and they use Google Cloud to figure out and identify kind of bad actors in the ecosystem. Last but not least, Dawn from Fitbit, which is the maker of the world's largest fitness tracking trackers. She's going to share how they've migrated to Google Cloud, and they're using Google Cloud to increase their developer velocity. So without further ado, let me introduce to you Mark from the Department for Transport. Mark.
So the UK Department for Transport is interested in every car in the country, every bus, tube, truck and motorcycle, every aeroplane, boat, ferry and train. Lately we started tracking drones too, because if it moves people and things in Britain, we want to help that happen more easily and safely. That's tens of millions of vehicles moving around all the roads and ports and warehouses and flight paths that we're trying to see and understand within constant changing conditions, the economy, society, the weather. If you're in a business or government function where the goal is better visibility into your problem, you can appreciate what work we do at DFT. We provide advice to ministers, and we run or oversee 24 transport-related agencies, public bodies that work on moving people around the UK. This includes Highways England, Network Rail, Civil Aviation Authority, DVLA, DVSA, Maritime and Coast Guard Agency, and others. The 24 agencies are quite diverse and spread out. This, for us, makes data integrity and availability a critical issue. And like many of you, so is speed, productivity, and the improved workforce morale that comes with feeling like you're having consistently meaningful impact. This is especially so in a government department. In early 2019, we kicked off a project with Google Cloud and their partner agency, CTS. The idea of this project was to migrate about 400 virtual machines to GCP and about 60 applications. Most of those 400 virtual machines were running things like Citrix and administrative tools, but we had a vast number of applications too. This was to support ours and central government's cloud-first principle, to reduce the manual interventions of managing on-premise hardware, which was often running out of space and highly constrained. One of the things that I hadn't anticipated, and there's a tinge of regret here, is the people element of it. We've got colleagues within the DFT digital service, which I head up, that were still really enjoying pulling cables and fixing disks and doing backup tapes and those kind of things. And what I hadn't realized necessarily, it was human nature. And on reflection, we should have approached the people change element aspects a lot more. And we didn't provide the attention it needed. And it's a really big learning experience that I think if I'd pass on to anyone going through this journey, put the people at the forefront of it, not the technology. Decommissioning most of our on-premise infrastructure has meant significant cost savings on equipment and will get us better reliability, resilience, and security, amongst other things. We're also seeing hidden costs. Now, what we've started doing is because of Google's consumption model, we're seeing spikes in costs. Now, this is a good thing, actually. I'll mold it over about whether it was a potential negative, but actually, it's given us a clearer breakdown of the cost of the organisation. And what it's meant to me is I can justify the growth of our digital service to my bosses, and my business planning cycle is much easier to manage. So actually, it's a really, really positive thing. Secondary to that as well, performance of our business applications is so much faster. And, we're talking night and day different. As part of these projects we've taken on board, we've done something with a product called Lennon. Lennon is local earnings networked nationally overnight. Now, it's a bit of a mouthful. Lennon takes ticketing data from network rail and train operating companies, and we use it for kind of forecasting of travel. Lennon was Lennon's been moved into BigQuery, and it's now plowing through terabytes of ticket information in seconds, and it was 24 hours. Carol mentioned 4 hours before I came out, but we've actually got this down to about 27 seconds. We were originally managing this in 2 single-tenant data centers. It was over 100 terabytes of difficult to maintain and backup databases. It was one of the first challenges that someone called me about when I started the job a couple of years ago. We had ownership of Lennon on one level, but on another we didn't have the right visibility, certainly not of the data. Now again, one of the byproducts which has proved really positive, much like the cost, is it's allowed us to fix the data integrity issues we found. The ability to plow through data with that speed has meant we can re-ingest over 100 terabytes of data into BigQuery and get us into a position where we're confident and comfortable that the data integrity is there. It's been a massive bonus. For digital service, which is the part of the organisation I currently head up, we've also started developing our own in-house solutions. We've just gone live with one called Submit Maritime Statistics. It's slightly more affectionately known as Port Freight, because you can see with Lennon and Submit Maritime Statistics, we don't really have the easiest names for applications. Port Freight, as I'll call it, was replacing an externally developed product. It's used for the collection of freight data, so it logs the movement of freight in and out of UK ports. The data set is used to analyse trends in shipping. It enables us to meet our obligations to publish port and freight data. Maritime Stats has been developed on GCP and is using some of the platform as a service products such as App Engine and Cloud SQL. This has been a big change in the way we develop products in-house. With a few early successes like that, the organisation starts to get interested in the capabilities of cloud and what it can give us. This is allowing us to concentrate on developing new products, new software, and not having to manage so much hardware. Not to say that it's still not important. By June 2020, we expect to be fully out of our on-premise data centers and operating as a cloud-first organisation. In the future, we're looking at redeveloping applications so they're cloud-native. We've discovered hundreds already, and we're hoping to take advantage of capabilities such as artificial intelligence and machine learning. Moving to GCP and our partnership with Google has been a great success for us. It's something we're looking forward to continuing. It's been fantastic for me personally and the rest of the team. So yeah, thoroughly recommend it. So Thanks very much for your time today. Appreciate it. Cheers.
Please welcome to the stage Jason Brown, Global Head of Fixed Income Risk Technology at Credit-Suisse.
Hi. So Credit-Suisse was founded in 1856 as really a bank that wanted to focus on clients, on new innovative products, to enable our clients to be able to take the appropriate risks with the appropriate rewards. Inside Credit-Suisse, we've invested a lot of time and a lot of resources on our risk systems, which will help the bank itself understand risk, whether that's in credit risk, whether that's market risk, or whether that's trader risk. Now, everybody can recognize in any business that there's always risk and reward. And we shouldn't be risk averse, and it's not about being risk averse. What it's about is being risk aware. What you need to understand is how to take the appropriate risks in any particular kind of business. And what we've done, and the story I want to take you through today, is we want to actually reflect on that and apply those risk principles that the bank has always been applying back onto IT, and to try to understand exactly what that means for us and what we've done with all that. So, 2 years ago, Credit-Suisse created a new business called International Trading Solutions, which brought together what's called the fixed income businesses. Now, on this picture, it's a very simplified diagram, and there are different businesses that we can take you through. So, starting from the left-hand side, you've got the foreign exchange businesses, you've got then the rates business, which is trading in bonds and interest rate derivatives. There's the emerging market businesses, and then there's several other ones that I didn't really put on the slide here. But by bringing together under International Trading Solutions these different businesses, we also brought together all the risk systems, so the IT systems. And what we observed is what's up here. Now, this is sort of a heretical kind of simplification, so anyone that knows these systems will realize it's very simple. But what you'll see is there's lots of duplication. In essence, every single business in the IT side had built the same set of functions, albeit in a very, very different way. So if you dig a little bit deeper under it, not only do we have the duplication across the different businesses, we've also got duplication within different regions. And part of that is because there's a common belief, which I think is almost in every IT organization, particularly in the finance world, is that owning your own code and your computers is a strength, because it feels like you have control over everything. The problem is actually it's an unnecessary risk for us, right? And Dijkstra observed back in 1960, so for those programmers out there will know who Dijkstra is, he's a very famous computer scientist. He observed that basically every line of code is a liability, and we see it in exactly the same way. So what we wanted to do is make sure that our talent was focusing on innovative new solutions, and solutions that really are not about writing your own code, but leveraging, reuse, and also open source. So what we did was we made a change. So the change was effectively to pivot the entire team horizontally and organize, instead of by our businesses and the business alignment with IT, we organized by functions. Because the duplication was there, once we organized our teams around functions, we then said to each team that you have to then remove that, those different duplications. So what we did also was shift to open source. The gains are really effectively 100% over the last year and a half. Now, what you'll see on this slide is kind of a stylized version of the flow that we looked at. So we have the different functions and also then the different open source solutions. Now, this actually works extremely well, but the problem with it is we still own absolutely everything. So what I mean by that is we still have all the infrastructure, we have all the code, and it's all on-prem, and it actually still requires quite a lot of people to look after that. And this is where, in fact, Google comes in. So what we did was we took our already split functions, and we worked with Google Cloud to solve the weaknesses of owning absolutely everything in the infrastructure. Now, this is simple, elegant solution, and some people might say an obvious solution. But when you look at it, there is no code in this solution, there's no servers in this solution, and everything is in the cloud. So we manage absolutely none of that infrastructure anymore, but we get the same functionality. Now, it's not risk-free, But we've transferred some of the risks out of our organization and the liabilities out of our organization and transferred them into operational, which is working with Google to understand how to manage the infrastructure. And it also enables us to start focusing more on data in our architecture than it does on writing code and deploying all that code. But this is just one step of the way. And the story really, really isn't over. We want to make the next step to get to the next efficiency gains. So this is what we think the potential is. In essence, what we've done, as you've already seen, is we've taken all the functionalities that we had duplication, we pivot those, we then put them into open source, we then move to the cloud, and the next big step for us is to take the actual compute, not just the functionality you see that we presented, but also our compute. In essence, take the entire risk management systems and put them onto cloud. And that's where we think we'll get the 100% gain on top of that. Thank you very much.
Please welcome to the stage Carsten Bernhard, CTO at eDreams.
Imagine your dream vacation, maybe going to a new city, a country, or a beach, or a secluded mountain getaway, with loved ones or with great people that you meet while you're traveling. And imagine doing all of that without the hassles of travel and without the fear of having overpaid on that. That's exactly what we're doing as a company. We're using technology to help people find their perfect vacation out there. eDreams became one of the largest online travel sites, and you might not know us as a corporate company, but we're actually powering a lot of very well-known consumer brands in Europe, which are number 1, number 2 in the corresponding markets. It's Opodo in UK, for example, or eDreams in Spain and in Italy, GoVoyage, ODIGEO, and TravelLink. Over the years, we have built a base of loyal customers that are really key to our success. And in fact, this year, in a year, we have about 18 million people who are traveling with us. In the same time, in the past, travel has become more complex. Airlines are unbundling their offerings more and more. If you think about it, you now have to buy your flight separately from a seat, from a bag, from fast pass access. It's a lot of different choices. And combining that with a lot of different airlines, we actually sell 660 different airlines. That means a lot of customer choices as well. If you would show every customer all of these choices out there, it would almost be abusive. It would be like thousands of data points for them to choose from. They would just run away and not book. It also means quite a complexity for the computing side of things. Right now, we're powering 36 billion pricing calculations every hour. And if you pair that with 1.7 billion searches that users are doing every month, that's an awful lot of fast and complex computing and processing that we need to do. It's doing that well and doing it fast, that's really what's needed to keep up with the market. But we don't want to keep up. We want to go get ahead with the company, get ahead and delight our customers. So we have a sizable team of engineers, and both on software development and data scientists that are working on putting all these data points together to create the perfect vacation. And we took all of that knowledge and shifted it over to Google Cloud with quite some impressive results that on top of that teach us something around about our company, and maybe also about yours. Because if you think about cloud in the beginning, it's like the typical benefits. Yes, you have cost benefits, maybe you have lower maintenance, or you can focus more on what's important for the company. But we saw something else happening as well. And it's actually best explained by a real true story that's happened about 2 years ago. A colleague of mine from the business came to me and said, hey, I have this great opportunity. It's a really sizable upside for the business. It just has a slight problem. It requires us to double our computing power. Now, if you're on an on-prem world, doubling your computing power is a pretty daunting task. You're going to have to hire double the amount of employees. You're going to have to rent double the rooms, buy double the servers, install them. It's a huge commitment. You don't do that to just test out in a year. It better works if you've done that. With the migration to Google Cloud, the conversation shifts. It goes away from being a technical feasibility conversation into a commercial feasibility conversation. And we noticed that in the past, we have been constraining ourselves to shy away from these big, bold ideas because they simply haven't been possible. But now with cloud, they become possible, and it's just a strategic conversation about how much do we want to spend and how much benefits is it bringing, and IT is at the core of that conversation, and I think it's a great change. We're getting to this great change by using Google Kubernetes. You might know it's an open source framework developed by a Googler that's running on Google Cloud, and our platform runs fully on Kubernetes. Kubernetes is helping us with the operations of our platform. It scales up and down according to demand, and it helps us to, in a secure, timely, and rapid way to roll out releases. In fact, we have seen that teams that are on Google Cloud release 4 times as much as teams that are on-prem. It's a real tangible improvement. And releasing for us is important because we know that all learnings for us as a company is happening in the face of customer. Before you get a feature live in the face of a customer, it's just a theory. We want to get these learnings out there to adapt our products. And releasing more often and more frequently is helping us do exactly that. So we want to do more in the future, and I think the next frontier on this is AI, ML. And we want to do the same thing that continuous delivery did for software development to machine-based learning as well. We call it the industrialization of machine-based learning. It's about empowering all of our engineers to use data models to power their features on our website in a super fast and rapid way. And it's using technologies such as Kubeflow or AutoML to make that happen. I want to close all of this with just a final note on more on a different topic. It's not on technology, but it's more on people. It's more on working together, because I truly believe that all of this has been possible because from the very beginning, we've been working very closely with the team at Google Cloud, both on the commercial side, or the customer side, and the services side, as well as on the product side. And we were treated not only as a customer, but really as a partner. And they had a skin in the game to make this happen. And I truly believe that was a key difference of success. Come talk to me later if you want to know more about this. And I bet our new AI-powered website is also going to be able to find you your perfect dream location. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage Niccolo Maisto, CEO at Faceit.
In both the online and the offline world, there is nothing quite like sports. They have skill building, competition, team building. They make people feel alive. At the same time, they can also provoke bad actors. A few end up ruining the experience to many. That's why in physical sports, you have referees. They make sure that rules and standards are applied to everyone. Nowadays, video games are sports too. They're called esports, and they're played by millions. In fact, at Faceit, we built one of the largest esports communities in the world. Over 15 million players, thankfully, over 15 million players used Faceit in order to organize their esports matches. And on an average daily peak, we have 100,000 players, actually more, 125,000 players, connected to Faceit at the same time. Now, they join teams, they build their skill, they compete for prizes. And on top of it, we work with game developers who connect and integrate with our platform in order to get access to our technology, and most importantly, our community. This means that the health of our community is of utmost importance for us. A few bad players that insult or abuse other players drive the good ones away. And that's something we see in terms of customer feedback, but most importantly in terms of engagement metrics. 20% of our churning subscribers mention toxicity as the main reason for leaving the platform. As I said, in physical sports, that's solved by putting a human inside every single match. With thousands of matches running 24/7, that's simply unfeasible. And that's why we built Minerva. Minerva is an artificial intelligence that leverages a number of GCP machine learning tools in order to manage and moderate every single one of those matches. So how did we do it? First, we needed to make sure that we had the right data at the right time. In order to do this, we rebuilt our data pipeline. That's something we tried a couple of times in the past, and obviously, we never succeeded at properly supporting our goals. This time around, we actually managed, thanks to the help of the GCP team, but also the adoption of a number of GCP tools, to build a pipeline that is not only scalable, but allows us to get data in real time and unlock a number of capabilities, including machine learning. Funny enough, this pipeline is actually less expensive and requires less maintenance than any of the previous solutions we built. Once we had this in place, we started looking at machine learning. We did so by partnering with Jigsaw. Jigsaw is an incubator within Google's parent company that works on solving hard online social problems. And the first version of Minerva is built on top and is leveraging a machine learning product by Jigsaw called Perspective. The way it works is that we get all of the data from our matches. We parse the text chat and send it to Jigsaw. Jigsaw returns a score. That score is the level of toxicity identified for that specific sentence. This is then passed over to Minerva, which analyzes the context, applying our machine learning tools, our machine learning model, and looks at the context and the data of the users. So are they friends? Are they teammates? Were there additional iterations and interactions between those users? Once that's done, Minerva decides whether to take an action, and if so, what action to take in order to change the user's behavior. Before launching this, we analyzed 200 million messages. 4% of them were identified as toxic. And only 1% of the players were identified as requiring an action in order to change their behavior. At the same time, this was affecting more than 40% of our matches. This further reinforces the fact that just a few players were ruining the experience for almost everyone else. After launch, it only took a few weeks before we could see the positive results. We had a 20% reduction in the number of matches, in the number of toxic messages. And most importantly, a 15% reduction in the number of matches that were affected by toxicity. Now that we know how to deal with toxicity for chat messages, we can start applying this to other things. And the objective is to start identifying more behaviors. The next things we're working on is identifying abuse in voice communication. So whenever someone is in a match, making sure that if they're abusing voice comms, screaming or insulting for voice, we can identify that, or in game-specific behaviors. If we take the football analogy, think of a teammate preventing another teammate from scoring a goal on purpose. And this actually happens. One of the main concerns that our community expressed when we first announced Minerva was the fact that they didn't really understand who was setting the threshold, who was deciding whether behavior is toxic or not. They felt like it was a bit of a black box. Is it a machine ruling on their behavior? Is it a man behind the curtain playing judge on their actions, basically, and taking decisions on our behalf? In order to address this, what we decided to do is to do this with our community. We opened up a portal, and now we're going to give access to our community to enter this portal, review cases, and tell us whether they think that's toxic and what sort of action we should take in order to change their behavior. So in other words, we're leveraging our community, and we're opening up to our community to train the machine learning model with us. Ultimately, dealing with and moderating an online gaming community is not so different from any product that requires a positive human interaction in order to create value to their users. And that's why I hope that sharing this today is going to help any of you, those of you that are working on similar issues in other industries, to build similar solutions. And one thing I'd like to say is that all of this was possible not only because of the GCP tools that we used, but also thanks to the help of a team at Google that has been giving us a lot of opportunities in terms of knowledge sharing and networking over the past year. And I'm really looking forward to keep working with them as we bring Minerva to the next level. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage Dawn Baker, VP Engineering at Fitbit.
Good afternoon. I'm Dawn Baker, and I lead software engineering teams at Fitbit. Powered by one of the world's largest databases of activity, sleep, and exercise data, the Fitbit platform provides personalized insights, experiences, and tools for people all over the world to improve their lives and their health. A couple of months ago, Fitbit launched our new premium subscription service. This service is based on more than 10 years of Fitbit data, and in combination with medical and academic expertise, we have put together programs that help you eat better, sleep better, and improve your overall health. These software experiences are today all living and powered by the Google Cloud. In the first week of September, we completed the last bit of our data migration into the Google Cloud platform that serves all of these users all over the world. Now, Fitbit has a lot of data because we collect your heartbeat, your sleep, every step you take over the last 12 plus years of time. Migrating was definitely for us a journey. It started 2 years ago when we first talked about with the business about the need to migrate to the cloud. It would improve our developer productivity, our speed to market. It would certainly cut down the time it takes for us to scale every year around the holidays. We started this journey by initiating our tools, platforms, automation in the Google Cloud. A lot of help from the Google PSO organization to help us navigate this new environment. We have a lot of expertise in on-prem, bare metal. Moving to the cloud was a new journey for us. One of the things that is different about the cloud was that we had to containerize our monolith. Ours is a beast because it's 12 years in the making. We've added new microservices platform. Everything new goes into microservices. We moved those things first. They were easier, much more amenable to a cloud environment. We had to containerize our monolith. And by the time we hit January, we'd started making all of our services slowly migrating to the cloud. But when it came to the monolith, we didn't yet have a plan. Our Google account team came to me, and they said, Dawn, you are not going to make the holidays this year if you don't start now. And so I had gone back to my team, and I said, folks, we've got to hit September 30th. Because if we don't, there's no chance that we're going out. And we'd migrated before. 5 years ago, we created, we had to move to a new data center, and we migrated all of our data. And that, it seems like, well, that would be great, except we only had a monolith at that point. This was a lot more complex, a lot riskier, and 5 years ago, we had about a third of the users that we have today. And they were mostly in North America, so taking downtime, not as big of a deal. Today, they're global, and being able to do that without taking downtime, without interrupting services, was really important for us. Not only that, but we were doing it right before we launched our new premium subscription service, and right before we launched our newest device, the Versa 2. In collaboration with our Google PSO team, we put together a plan, and we defined a timeline. We knew September 30th was our hard date. We set a schedule that allowed us about 9 or 10 weeks to migrate. We would do all the prep work, we would do all the testing, and we would be able to figure out what was going on. And if all things failed, we could always fall back to a hard cutover. Not ideal, but it was something we could do. A lot of risk involved here, but we went with a progressive migration plan. Not a tried and true plan, not something we had ever done before, but it was how we could do it without any downtime. What we did was, and how we justified this to the business, was we put all of our risk up front. It may be an unknown, but we can learn and iterate and have the least amount of impact on our customer base should something go wrong. So what we did was we migrated the first set of users, Fitbit employees, including our CEO, the worst experience you could have, which was your network traffic was going into the Google Cloud, but all your data is in our on-prem solution. Worked out some bugs, fixed some issues, brought in a few hundred real users, and then a few thousand, and now we're getting into the millions. About halfway through our migration, things were not going well. The user experience was getting pretty disruptive for about 15% of our users, which is a pretty high number. And we had to decide, are we going to roll back, or are we going to accelerate? In the end, we decided to accelerate because rolling back meant we would have to push this migration for probably 4 months. Once you hit October, the need for stability during the holiday period overrides migration. So we decided to be bold, and we took the step, and we accelerated the migration, finishing 3 weeks early. I don't advise launching 2 products at the same time you're doing a cloud migration. Now that we're there, and everything is working well, and we've had no issues in the cloud since we've finished the migration just over 2 months ago. We have a lot more to go. Our journey has just begun. While it feels like we did a lot of work and we've landed in our new cloud home, we have so much more to do, so many more things that we can leverage that we haven't even scratched the surface of. We're looking to migrate to GKE, leverage BigQuery as part of our big data solutions, be able to investigate what Spanner can do in our new time series as we go and scale our time series environments. So we're looking forward to what the future brings for us in the cloud, and are really grateful for the partnership that we've had, not only with the Google Cloud Platform, our account teams, but also the PSO organization, who played a big role in our success. So thank you for listening to our story, and I wish you all the best of luck in your journey to the Google Cloud Platform.
Thank you so much. We were standing backstage looking at our devices and our Fitbits to notice how many steps we had. I don't know about you, but I'm inspired to maybe walk up and down this hall a few more times and get a few more steps in. Now, I hope you found those useful. I know I'm certainly very inspired by what these customers have shared, and I hope you are too. At Google Cloud, we want to help all of you achieve great success, and we'd love to be able to hear your stories about what you're doing with Google Cloud. Please engage with the Googlers who are around the show. Please talk to the partners. Please talk to some of these customers if you have questions. We'd love to help you transform your business. Thank you, and have a great afternoon.